Hi guys, Brian here, and welcome to another wonderful commentary video. Today we're going to be talking about why behavior is not an underdog. So one of the biggest things I have seen, whether or not I'm on Twitter, whether I'm on the forums, whether I'm Reddit, one of the biggest things people say when they're kind of like blindly supporting this company is that, oh, well, they're the underdogs. You know, they're not a AAA company. They came up with this wonderful, wonderful game that we all enjoy, and they did it without the backing of a huge company, you know, and they did all that wonderful stuff. So therefore they are the underdogs. So, you know, they should kind of have a level of forgiveness for shortcomings, for problems with the game, because they're not a giant company. They're the underdogs. They're lucky they made it at all, and we should be happy that they made it at all. And there's a lot of things. I mean, I think that was a good point a long time ago. I think that's a good point in like the year 2016-17. I think that would have been a good point. But there's some stats that are very, very interesting that I wanna call your attention to. So I'm going to pull this up. What I have behind me here is the Steam charts. Steam charts keeps track of concurrent players and popularity of all the games on Steam, and ranks them in a you know, top 10, 100, you know, etc. system. If you can't see it here, Dead by Daylight is number 9. Dead by Daylight is the number 9 most played game on Steam. And you may be wondering, oh, well, are they just having a good month? The answer is no. In the time that I've started looking this up, which was around December 2020, they've consistently hung around this number 10 number. Sometimes, I think during the Binding of Kin, they got down to number 14, which is where Final Fantasy 14 Online is. They dropped all the way down to 14, obviously, because that patch was pretty bad. That was a pretty bad launch of a chapter. Probably the worst one that I've experienced personally. And when they had the Resident Evil chapter, they jumped up to 6 at one point. They jumped up to 6 in terms of popularity on Steam. Currently they're sitting at 9 because they're kind of between chapters right now, and despite Pinhead being incredibly awesome, he's not a really recent IP, so, you know, there's not a lot of, like, you know, I feel like it draws less attention. So they're kind of in a middle area right now. So they've hovered around that actual number 10 number again. But my point being is I've only played since August 2020. Like, well, July. I started in July, but I haven't played since like mid 2020. I've only been playing since mid 2020. So my experience before this is very limited. But just in the time I have been playing, they've beaten giant titles like Destiny, Rainbow Six, Rocket League, Final Fantasy 14, you know, games that are made by big companies, you know? So, like, even in that regard, they are swinging with the big boys. They just are. Whether you like it or not, they are up there with the big boys. They are actually, like, up there and outperforming some of the games that are backed by AAA companies. So, they're not really an underdog there. And it gets worse than that. So what you're seeing right back here behind me is Grojo.com. Grojo keeps track of different companies' revenue, total employees, just general stats, and it's all backed by the LED 411. So, you know, this is up to date information, and it's pretty reputable. So let's take a look at this. So Behavior, who makes 124.2 million, is competing with studios like Gearbox, which, you know, makes the Borderlands games, and Beanox, which helps makes the COD games, and has made the previous Spider-Man games, the 3D World Spider-Man games, before, not the new ones, not the PS4 ones. That's Insomniac, right? That's what they're called. Yeah, but they made the ones before that, like the Amazing Spider-Man movie tie-ins, the Edge of Time, Shattered Dimensions, that sort of thing. But yeah, and there's the Montreal branch of Square Enix. Obviously, that's the Montreal branch, so keep that in mind. But essentially, you can't say that Behavior is a small indie developer when they're getting up into the ranks of these companies who are AAA and do make these huge games backed by a huge company. I want to say this before we get too carried away. It is okay to like Behavior. You can do whatever you want, okay? You can do whatever you want. It is okay to hate Behavior. It's okay to love Behavior. I think a lot of people just treat them as an underdog, like they and they give them slack or defend them vigorously because they're an underdog. And I think that's just not factual. And I think that's the TLDR point of this video, is like, I'm just trying to point out to you that it just simply isn't true. And you can take with that what you will. I'm not saying it's a bad or good thing, but it's just like, they are not the underdogs here. They're not some understaffed company that's barely trying to make ends meet and don't have enough money to do anything. Like they're doing great, and they're rising up in the ranks, and they're in some cases out competing people who've put out games that are been put out or have been put out by AAA companies. So yeah, not really the underdogs. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, friendo. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to do the actual like thing to show me you liked it. And if you want to see more, maybe stick around with the sub, friendo. Other than that, I don't think anything else for you, so I'll see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.